Hi, I'm Kevin D. I'm the design director here at EVERGOODS. We're going to do a little kind of materials overview and introduction video. The purpose of this video is just to give you some high-level information about kind of what goes into our materials and how that causes them to have different characteristics. You know, like anything, I think making a really high quality product starts with making really high quality materials. So it's really important to us here at EVERGOODS. All of our primary materials that we use are made to order, and they are custom made to our specification. The other thing we really prioritize in our material selection is versatility in the build. So rather than have, 8 or 10 or 20 different raw materials, we are selecting high quality materials that feel versatile, that can be used as shells or can be used as linings or can be used as reinforcements in different types of products. We often end up maybe spending more for a lining than your average backpack company does. But if we can use that lining as a shell in other places or as a reinforcement in other places, this just sort of reduces the number of raw materials that our company handles. It allows us to focus on quality. It reduces the complexity of our ordering and logistics and helps us meet our minimums and just makes our whole operation smoother. And I think honestly, it makes the product better at the end of the day. Let's start with some terms that we should define just so that we know what we're talking about. The most important one in this discussion will probably be the word denier, or abbreviated as D. So when I talk about 420D fabric, we're talking about 420 denier. Denier is a really old word that basically refers to the weight of a single yarn. What is a yarn? A yarn is a bundle of filaments. And in synthetic textile, the filament is the single strand of nylon or polyester that makes up a yarn. So we have these single strands of filaments. Those filaments get bundled together to make yarns of different weights or diameters, and depending on the bundle, how big the bundle is and how much it weighs, this informs the denier of the textile. Okay, other words that we should talk about are weaving. All of our main body textiles are wovens. I'm sure you know what this means. It's just the woven is made up of yarns in perpendicular directions. One direction is called the warp, the other direction is called the weft. As these yarns intersect and weave in and out from each other, this is weaving. All of our main body textiles are plain weaves or 1-by-1 weaves. What that means is that every yarn, as it comes and passes by a pair of perpendicular yarns, it goes between them. And so every yarn intersects with every other yarn, 1-by-1-by-1-by-1-by-1. This is the simplest and most common type of weaving. It is the only type of weaving that we use in our linings and main body textiles, and produces a surface that is smooth and regular and even. And because all the yarns are interlocked together, it also produces a surface that's very strong, a material that's very strong. There's other materials that are not woven 1-by-1, and we'll get shots of these, but the yarns will like skip other yarns, and depending on the pattern and frequency of how this is done, can create different surface looks and little patterns in the weave. We don't do it this way, we do plain weave. Okay. Some other words that we should talk about are coating. Coating specifically is a material that starts as a liquid and gets spread on with a knife, almost like peanut butter or jelly, and then that liquid dries and solidifies into a coating. That's a coating, which is different from a lamination. A lamination starts as a single, like a layer, like a film almost, that is a solid film, and it is applied and bonded to the back of a textile. So that is lamination. Finally, we can talk about composites. Composites are just, multiple layers of textile or other materials that are all bonded together into a sandwich to make a thing that is the combination of all these elements. Okay, so let's look at our EVERGOODS main body textiles. I'm going to start with the lightest and then go on to some specialty things that we do. This is our 210D high tenacity nylon. This is very tightly woven. It's 210D, it's the smallest yarn bundle that we use, and the weave is very tight and very dense. We use this in the lining of some of our lighter weight mountain products. It's also used as a lining in a lot of our accessories. We use this as the main body textile in our packing cubes. It is light. It's super smooth surface and tight and kind of impenetrable. This has a silicone coating on the face, which makes it nice and slick, and a polyurethane coating on the backside, which gives it water resistance as well. So it's kind of light and drapey, and it's slick and really dense. It's a beautiful textile. This is our 420D high tenacity nylon. This textile is balanced woven, which means that the frequency or number of yarns in the warp and the frequency of yarns in the weft is identical. So the yarns per inch in both directions is the same. So the structure of this is identical, whether we look at it 90 degrees or not, it's even all the way through. So that was a 210 that we looked at. This is a 420, so the yarn is twice as large. There's twice as many filaments in it. This also keeps this pretty lightweight, but definitely more burly, more tear resistant and abrasion resistant than the 210. And we use this as the shell textile in our mountain line. I think this has great durability and abrasion resistance while still maintaining some lightness. It's got just a little bit more body and a little bit more heft. This textile also has a polyurethane coating on the backside. So that lightness and slickness combined with durability also makes this a great textile for our travel line. Super durable, super hard wearing, but just a little bit lighter for the travel use. This is the same weave also that ends up in our element textile. The substrate is woven at the same mill, and then before the textile gets finished, part of it gets split off and goes to a different mill to be laminated and coated for the element line, and the rest of it goes for regular finishing for the mountain and travel products. And also we also use this as the lining in our Civic products. This is an incredible textile to use as a lining. It is nicer than a lot of textiles you'll find in the shell of a lot of bags. Moving on from there, so this was a 420 denier. This is an 840 denier. So the yarns that make up this weave are even twice as weighty or twice as large as the 420. This is the textile we use for the shell of our Civic products. So 840, it's big and burly and tough. The other thing that we do with this is our balanced ballistic. So it is balanced woven, even in both directions, similar to the 420. This is ballistic. Another characteristic of that means that the yarns have just a little bit of twist before they get woven together. What this helps with is in such a large yarn with so many filaments and such big intersections, that twist helps to kind of just lock those yarns together a little bit like a rope so that they are less prone to like picking, or they don't abrade as easily. They're just like a little tighter and kind of wrapped up together. Makes the surface of this super abrasion resistant, very durable. This is, it's kind of a hefty fabric, but actually 840, it's still kind of tight and refined. I think it's just beautiful. You can certainly find bigger, burlier textiles than this. At some point, I think they start to get kind of like chunky almost. This is still really tight and refined, but super durable. So as I said, we're using this as the main body textile in our Civic line. Those are the three textiles that EVERGOODS develops and produces for most of our inline product. We also are doing collections in some other textiles made at other mills besides our nylon mill. This is our waxed cotton that we use. It is a special weave developed for workwear by our partners at Haley Stevenson's, and then it is treated with a wax finish. That wax finish penetrates the weave all the way through from front to back. So the front and back of this textile are the same. This wax, makes this air impermeable. It makes it waterproof. The other thing that people really like about this wax finish is how it wears over time. This is another sample of it. It looks this way coming right off the roll. As we wear it and scratch it and it crinkles a bit, it starts to discolor and wear. And the more that this wears, the more character it gives the product. Some folks really like this. It has kind of a heritage feel. It also makes each bag, I think, a little bit individual to the user. And it's pretty neat textile in that way. So this is 100% cotton with a crystalline wax finish. And the wax is pretty hard. As you can see, this is a pretty stiff textile. I think it's great in luggage, and it wears really nicely. The last fabric I'll talk about today is X-Pac. We're doing some collections with X-Pac, and this is a composite material. So we use X-Pac X42. So the face of this is a 420 denier nylon. It is not balanced woven, but plenty durable and abrasion resistant. So this is a composite, it's 3 layers. Inside, or the next layer is what they call the cross ply. So these are polyester yarns that are laid in a kind of a diamond direction. This concept or technology comes out of the sailing industry. The purpose of these yarns is to stabilize stretch in the bias direction. So I talked about warp and weft. Bias would be diagonal. So most textiles, they are very stable if you pull straight on the yarn. If you pull them diagonally, they'll flex a little bit and stretch a little bit. So this X-Ply is laid in here to stabilize this against stretching in the diagonal direction. Then to put the package all together, it has a lamination of Mylar. So this is a monolithic Mylar film that's laid on. All the components are bonded together. So that makes this textile waterproof and air impermeable. They make a version of this, and the 3rd layer here, rather than a Mylar film, they use a woven backer. Honestly, all of our products are already lined with another textile, and that lining is critical to our construction. So we don't feel the need to use a woven backer here. We save a little bit of weight and keep this a little more flexible by using the Mylar backing. And then the finished product is lined. So yeah, these are all 3 put together into a composite, and that is X-Pac that you'll find in our collections. Thanks for checking out materials. We've got other videos on this topic about solution dyeing and other things that you might want to know about. Thanks for spending time with us. Thanks for checking it out.